Okay. Here's a little familiarity. A little familiarity. This one's another. It's called a peaceful in E minor. So, I've also noticed, like in the past, I'm about to refer to my guitar tone because I lose track. But in the past, I've kind of gotten hooked on this one particular sound. It's a very driven overdrive that just is way too much sometimes, but it sounds so cool and fun to play. Like and I had the delay set to where it's like a panning delay, so you can hear it back and forth, especially if you're wearing headphones. Just a quick snippet of the difference between this tone with the track and then back to this other tone that I'm referring to, which is it's coming off of this this Boss guitar pedal. It's called a GT1000. I think it's one of their latest ones, and it's got insane capabilities where you can just, open up your phone and sit there and scroll through via Bluetooth all of the settings, or presets, I should say. And then if you want to go further into the presets and affect the delay and the reverb or any kind of equalization, if you're going to add effects, you can tweak those effects, i.e. the length of the delay, even the tone of the delay, meaning is it going to give, let's say for the reverb, a reverb tone would be, there's no reverb there, maybe a little room, but anyway, what comes back, a reverb is sort of like an echo, like a whoosh echo, but not a delay, bang, bang, bang echo. You can even change what comes after you hit the note in the reverb in more of the higher sounds. So I would challenge you, if you have a second, if you're going scrolling around and such on YouTube and whatnot, look up George Michael's album called Older. And back in the day when I first came across it, I was really, really trying to build up my vocals. And I wasn't smoking cigarettes as much back then either. So I was really able to get some of those falsettos that he's got, real high pitched, and then deep breaths and long notes that, going up and down the scale with just one single breath. And that takes practice. And I was sitting my 96 GMC with it on DVD, practicing it like it was just him and me. And the reverb on George Michael's albums, not only on his vocals, but on other parts of the instruments as well, the reverb has such a high pitch return. I should say a high end return, where when he speaks into the microphone while he's recording, and you can hear the parts of the letters S and stuff, that reverb is set at such a long feedback where it's like, and the tone of it is in such a high frequency that it just sounds like, it kind of sounds like what a bottle rocket would sound like in slow motion, like without the explosion. and it does sound excessive. But what I'll do is challenge you to see exactly what I mean. Is when you pull up that album by George Michael called Older, even from the very first song, um, as it's playing, turn it all the way down till there's no sound to be heard at all. And then turn it up gradually until you start to hear something. And notice that the first thing that is heard is the highest frequency of the feedback from his reverb, where it's like you can't hardly hear anything at all except this. And music producers know what they're doing. Nothing lands on that tape unless it's by design. And if it's a happy accident, then yeah, you were still going through something when it's an accident. So what? You were still trying to work to create the perfect album to the best of their ability. So it was no mistake that the reverb on his voice seems like that continued throughout the rest of his albums to have this really high-end saturated reverb on everything. It seemed like it might have even been like the mastering process where that the reverb was just pretty much washed over everything. And in the sense of trying to dial in reverb and stuff like that on your instruments or vocals or whatever, I would consider the amount that they've applied to those instruments and into his voice is excessive, very excessive. But when he's singing longer notes and quieter the force that's coming out of his diaphragm is gentle, and he's up. You can tell he's up real close to the microphone. One of my favorite songs is just piano and some strings. I think it's called "They Won't Go." It's like they won't go when I go. Let me give you an example. Let me find a reverb that would be close to something that he does. Check one, check one, check check Okay, so what am I doing? Okay, so like the effects, obviously. So that sound, no lying friends, wanting tragic end, though they do pretend they won't go when I go. With all the bleeding hearts, with sorrows to impart, right here from the start, they won't go when I go. When I go, I don't know. I'll wait from here. What does it go? He's like, like something of man will be far away from me. My soul will be free. They won't go when I go. And I love the part where he breaks into the my wife's upstairs. I'm gonna give it a chance anyway. And one of my favorite parts, even though we all know George Michael's lifestyle, I still like to pretend to be ignorant of that fact. But it does sound somewhat like a gospel cathedral type sound. So it's just the sound itself lends it to be kind of a perfect mix for something that is insinuating a religious outlook or a religious connotation to it, where they won't go when I go into to heaven. All those bleeding hearts with sorrows to impart, stuff like that. Then he breaks into unclean minds mislead the pure, the innocents will lead for sure. For them there is a resting place. Sinners sinning, people sinning just for fun, and they won't never see the sun. For them there is no resting place. There ain't no a hopeless sinner who will take more than he will give. He will give. He will give. You'll hardly ever give. Oh yeah. That's my favorite part on that song. And before I go to work, at that time I could make my own schedule, and I would sit. If it fancied me, I'd sit there in the parking lot and rewind that song back, and back. And because he sings so close to the microphone, it's almost like you can hear how he's doing what he's doing because the microphone's picking it up. I mean, literally, it sounds like to me the muscular movements that enable him to, not only just, but also what I'm hearing is where he takes a breath, like you can hear him go, like that. And I think in today's world with the digital, everything's got to be cleaned, they would actually even go in there and probably take the part out no more lying friends want, take a breath. So it would tell me when to charge myself for the breath. So he's filling up his lungs for a particular phrase that lasts a certain amount of time, and he gives himself only that much air, not too much, and not too little, because you wind up straining it out, but you want a little bit of overhead. So taking a breath and being, they won't go when I go. See, right there, I'm out of breath. But to sing with an open vocal cord, more air has to come out. So take a deeper breath. They won't go when I go. And you don't lose the pitch correction. Not today's pitch correction, but the real correcting of one's voice being heard and keeping it steady. And for a white boy, he has some soul. I should shut up now. I should shut up now. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So on this track, for a while now, I would do something like this on guitar. So that's just an example. It's a very high gain, right? So I'm gonna go back to the beginning of this mess. It's pretty cool. I like it. It's pretty. And also that preset's pretty loud too. So anyway, it's called double amp. And what it's actually supposed to emulate is that the guitar's coming from two different amplifiers, and each one of them has their own particular nuance to it that makes it different from one another. And it's like you're playing one guitar through two different amplifiers, amplifying the sound that is very good for that amp and very good for the other amp, and they've combined them and then they put it in stereo, so where it's like you hear both amplifiers being pushed with something. So I scroll back up to 24 and I get what's called in the same concept of concept of being or messing around with two different amplifiers. You gotta be joking, bro. I mean, come on now. We ain't got all day. Come on now. You gotta do something. Oh, there it is. Clean Drive. It's called Clean Plus Drive. Clean Plus Drive. So while the guitar is going, this little device is cool. It can pick up the clean tones from the guitar pickups, and it will also give you the overdrive or the gain or the distortion, the heavier sound. But because it is so clean and so together and mixed, it's almost hard to tell that it's like an overdrive or a gain setting, because the clean part is so clear, which is not so much synonymous to a full gain get out. It's like buzz, 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 But on this particular guitar, this is my Ibanez Jim Jr. You can't see it. It was white, but I went ahead and do what I always do: take it and reshape it. Cut out more relief of it. Look how thin it is, like in this little area. It's not gonna be anything like it on the shelf. I put this, it's called a burl wood. It's like a film that you can put on there that spray on let it over some hot water and dip it in there and it adheres to it. And I even got the headstock in the same burl wood. Sorry about the color thing that I've got the filter on my camera, but I think that it could add some more interest to it. But anyhow, these pickups are the pickups that Steve Vai goes for in the Evolution, the whole setup, the humbucker. Chris Gibson. If you're talking about what kind of electric guitar to get, this is what you're looking at, the pickups. We got the humbucker here, the single coil, and the two humbuckers, and this 5-way switch. All you guitar players should know this already, but other people who don't know, I'm just saying that this guitar lets me play a certain different way that I can't do on the other guitars because of the tremolo bar. So this is straight humbucker selection. I'll turn the volume all the way up. But listen to selector number 2. That's this pickup here and then this one here combined. That's like second selection. What was I saying? There's some, okay, yeah. So I'm gonna do the same track with this setting on my guitar predecessor. Same guitar. That was kind of a short one. I'm gonna do that one again. Do you mind? It's 27 minutes in. What else are you gonna do? Put on your earbuds. I'm telling you. I go through quite a bit of trouble to put everything through a mixer and not like just the amp coming out into a room and being picked up by the phone. Because even though you can hear it and you can tell that notes are being changed on the guitar and everything, it's everything else that you're missing that you hear on the radio. The clarity, the bass, the separation between left and right, the stereo sense of it. And if I know how to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not just gonna not do it just because, oh, it's good enough, it gets the point across. Like if I was gonna make a sign, you know, will work for food on a piece of cardboard, I'll actually like take it to the next level and draw out square letters and fill it in and maybe do some designs on the corners and such, you know, a little bit of a dollar sign and then like maybe a different color Sharpie up in this thing. And so I want you to hear what I'm doing with headphones on, because that's what I'm hearing, that's what I'm going by, and I'm making all my adjustments and equalization points based on what I'm observing through the headphones. So, you're doing yourself an injustice. If you're sitting on the toilet looking at this, I totally understand. I get it. But when you get back in the house and you done wash your hands, you can play it back. But after you realize that you didn't wash your hands, please set down the phone and go wash your hands before you look at anything that I've done, because you just can't get that smell off. You know, I can't, you know, you start pushing around on my page and my posts and stuff, and I'll be like, what smells like Tootie? And I don't want to call out no names, you know. There are some regulars that go around and listen to people's music. So be considerate and don't litter. Pick up your cigarette butts when you're done smoking. I'm tired of seeing them laying on the floor when I go in from the parking lot to the grocery store, because this is my town that I live in, and I am proud of it. It's called Pleasant View, and I'm glad to be in Pleasant View because the title itself is exactly what this place is. If you're not a troublemaker, it's very pleasant, and there's it's got a nice view. I know there's a lot of pessimists out there. Wherever they seem to have been stuck their whole life, they have developed a total disdain for the place that they are in and want to get away from there. This urge to move from this one stagnant pond to another stagnant pond. But all the means that need to be there before that can happen, first and foremost, you have to have the desire. Stop complaining about it and get up and do it. Second, you'll need to have at least one eye, because if you have a glass eye, the road will look really weird, you know? And then when people drive by, and that glass eye that you have on the left, even though you're looking forward, it's staring straight at them. A lot of people got road rage, so be careful that you're not eyeballing people by mistake. So be careful on the road. What that has to do with music is everything. Because when you're in the car and listen to the music, we're not paying attention. And that's exactly what I would like you to do, is pay attention with headphones on to the nuances of total sound.
Robinhood Gold offers VIP treatment for all with a 5% APY on your
Yeah, we had a good time there, didn't we? That was cool. That was pretty nice. That's pretty nice. That's a short track there. Yeah, I love you guys. I was thinking about getting on Instagram. I was thinking about getting on Instagram. But dude, it really freaks me out when you try to go to Play Store and you are reading terms of condition about this particular app being able to have access to your device, the data on the device, and a third party may be involved. And I feel so sad for the people who want that daily affirmation. I get it. I do it all the time. I'm posting on Facebook, and it doesn't really get the feedback that one would hope for being a musician. It almost comes with the territory that if you've worked hard at it and you've made some progress throughout the years to show that you have an understanding of your instrument, and not so much just that, but you're able to actually harness the emotions of other people, because we've experienced those ourselves. We don't have to be in their emotional state to reproduce the emotional state with our guitars. And I'm not boasting or making this up in any way to put myself in a category that is higher or anything like that. It's just that that's all I do is play guitar. That's all I do. And I used to be a huge movie buff, and I would sit behind the TV and watch movie after movie after movie. And I remember when I broke my ankle some years back, that's when I was still drinking, it was almost 2 years that I was playing guitar. You know, I might pick it up a couple of months or so in between and put it back down because I was not feeling inspired. Almost like someone else is in charge of the faucet. And when the flow comes, it doesn't feel like that I was the one who initiated the flow. I'm just responding to it. So pick up your guitar and record this because you feel something. You feel something in you. It's going to happen again. And it's been so long that I've been experiencing this type of relationship with how I'm responding to my, at any given moment, shifty emotions, like bipolar type stuff, where, you know, it's like at one point everything is comfortable and I'm thankful on the bed, and all of a sudden, and it's not even that big, but it's enough to remind me of the state that I was in before I stopped drinking, because my mind was being poisoned and I wasn't thinking straight. And all of a sudden I'll be playing and there'll be this real quiet sensation of dread and depression, almost also accompanied with a little bit of anger, because I'm tired of not being in control of how I feel. And that is exactly what drove and drives addicts and alcoholics to change the way I feel by outside sources. And I found out a long time ago that even at a younger age that I was meant to play music. It is by far except for wanting to learn more about our Lord and Savior, Jesus, and what it is that He commands of us, and the troubles that I am going through and had gone through and have come out with victory, is because of the grace of God and His mercy and Him keeping His promises that He will protect His people. He will protect His children, His sheep. He's the shepherd. And He will leave the 99 to go get the one that stray away. And a lot of times I do that stray. And today I'm not battling with alcoholism, but I am still battling with just day to day wanting to strangle myself because I have to be in a place where I have no control over the other people. And it is not uncommon for me to take my acoustic guitar to dental appointments, doctor's appointments, broken bone ortho. Like, I go anywhere where I gotta sit and wait, I am definitely bringing my acoustic guitar. And I get all kinds of feedback from people. That is not the motivation that makes me carry my acoustic guitar with me where I go. It is the fact that waiting around and in a room with people at, like, say, a doctor's office or whatever, and no one's speaking to one another. But I get it that everybody wants to be looking at their phone because there's a lot of interesting stuff on the phone. But what I find more interesting than my phone and what is on that phone, besides my photographs that I've taken with them, I'm not going to sit in that room face down at a screen. I brought my acoustic guitar, and I've yet to have someone tell me to take it back outside, or to, if you're going to play that, you have to leave the premises. In fact, the opposite is true. That I have had doctors of the office, not just the nurses, but also to include the nurses, are remembering me when I come back for my follow-ups or checkups or whatever, and they give me praises for something that I'm doing to try and distract myself about how weird it feels to be in a room full of people and not even talking to each other. I bring my guitar to distract myself from my wandering mind and not understanding why I keep having this mindset that only leads to a point where I figure and find that I am not in control. And like I said, anger comes along with it. But when I'm playing my guitar, I am aware that other people are listening or can hear it. And too many people have told me that they really, 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 really liked it. But, not to sound pompous or bragging, but I really, 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 really try to sound that way. I work on the aspects of my playing that would be on par with what they might be playing on the overhead speakers at the doctor's office, which they don't have. That opens the door, literally opens the door for people who haven't spoken to anyone else in the room, even myself. As soon as I start playing my guitar, that would be what some people might think is breaking the ice. There's no such thing as breaking the ice. There's no ice there. We have the 100% availability and capability to open dialogue with people that we don't know in a situation where we hate, which is doctor offices to begin with, as some people are that way, and second, being in a room and picking up on each other's vibes that it ain't all positive. But as soon as I start playing, there have been several times where those very people that had nothing to say to me would come to me and act as if they already knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that I'm an approachable kind of guy. Now, why does anyone else in the room who's looking at their phone doesn't get that treatment? But when I bring my guitar in and I play and I recognize the energy that's in the room, I recognize how it's affecting me, and I know certain chord structures that lend itself to something of what is a relief and sorrow. So a relief from sorrow. So sorrow has to be represented in certain chords, and then the relief of it would be the resolution or the repetitiveness of it, which is in fact taking our mind off of what is not even worth freaking thinking about, because that's why we're looking at the phone. We don't want to think about what's going on inside of us and what's wrong, because we can't figure it out. It just bothers us. So I take my guitar, and when I do play, I get lost. I go to a place in my head when I'm playing as if no one was around. But then all of a sudden, people have made it quite clear, including a doctor that says, anytime you want to, I'll set you up a desk right over here in the corner if you want to come back and play your guitar. And I'll even put a tip jar out there for you. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that admit their fair share of pricks of doctors because of their PhD and the medicine and stuff that earns them the right to belittle the patients. But the nurses, the receptionists, people, the ones who are filling in your data and all that, it's usually on average 5 to 6 females behind the counter. And it's that feminine nature that when they start to speak and they start to show and say to other people how much that they like it, that they're being touched by it. And that is my intention. I'm not just going in there trying to practice Sweet Home Alabama. I'm going with what I know how to play and letting it be appropriate for the room that I'm in. And I've gotten too much confirmation that what I'm doing isn't a bad thing. Who gives the right to carry around your guitar and disturb the peace? Not one person yet. Not one person for years now. After I came back from my last rehab, which was 4 years ago, I started focusing more on me and the relationship of music and how I tie those to my emotions. And instead of being infuriated with the world and my surroundings and my lack of control, and going to the liquor store and getting a couple pints, I turn into a totally different person and nobody wants to be around. And I don't even want to be here. So I don't understand why I was drinking, because it made it worse. But I thank God that He spoke to me on that night that He did. Said, it's time, you have to go now. And I looked at my wife and said, we have to leave right now. And that was what happened. She drove me up to Mirror Lake, which is in Burns, Tennessee. And there's a piano there, and I could take my guitar with me. There were 2 incidences where full-grown men, while I was playing, having tears coming down their faces. One time I was playing, and beside me was a younger guy. His name's Quentin. And I heard sniffling and trembling, like, and I looked over and he was writing. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, man. I'll stop playing. He goes, no, don't stop. It's actually helping. He said it's helping. So it's like that music was able to break through this lack of communication barrier. He was trying to write a note to one of the girls on the facility that he'd been messing around with. and he was about to go, and he wasn't going to have nothing to do with her after they split up from Mirror Lake. That's why they don't encourage fraternization between male and female. It hurts people, and when people get hurt, they start back on their drugs and alcohol. One time, there's this big old black dude named I'll remember. It was like Jordan or something like that. I forget things easy. But there was a piano outside, and it is at 8 o'clock in the morning being beamed on by the sun. And he came up to me and was like, Scotty, do something for me. Do something for me. And this dude's story was, he was in it good in the ghetto, and talking about he'd been shot 13 times throughout his life, living that lifestyle with the gangs and all that. And he asked me to play the piano. And the whole time I was there, I would tinker around on the piano, but I wouldn't sing along with it. But when Warren, that was his name, when Warren was standing there, big, muscle, black glasses, and I'm this little white boy, don't know anything about the lifestyle that he came from, which requires a lot of strength and taking care of yourself, and fear that comes along with that too. So there's calloused people who have to live in that environment. But since earlier that week, I had heard that he had just recently lost his mother. She had passed away. For some reason, when I'm just writing these chords and playing these melodies and stuff, that I sort of started off with, like how Freddie Mercury was like, Mama, just killed a man, So I took the idea of having a conversation with Mom, his mom, the one who's passed away. And I would say phrases that I would be thinking if my mom was passed away, that on the lines that, I know that you can hear this music right now, but it's nothing compared to the music that you're hearing from the angels from above. I know that you see me. I miss you. You would be proud of me today. Those kind of things. And when I was done, I turned around on the bench, and he's standing there with those black glasses on, and there's tears coming out of this big dude's cheeks. Grown man. The music is somehow touching onto something that is triggering this emotional response that is followed by tears. And we know there's tears of joy, and there's also tears of sadness. But sometimes in our hearts, when the truth is revealed to us, it's so overwhelming that God could love an individual like me, that God could show me his love through someone else. And sometimes I think that the Lord gave me this ability. Yes, I practiced it a lot, but he gave me the love for it. He gave me the passion for it. So I still got to work at it. I still got to practice it and learn stuff. But what he gave me, I did not know until I started witnessing it myself. At my ex-wife's house, I took my acoustic with me everywhere I went, and I started playing Tears in Heaven, So it's, would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? And all of a sudden, my ex's sister, who was there in the living room while I was playing that song, had to leave the room because of how emotional she got. She started crying and she would not let on to anybody that she was affected. And then my ex turned to me and she explained why that song brought tears to her eyes. I'm not going to divulge that information, but if anybody knows anything about the song Tears in Heaven, it's that after Eric Clapton suffered the loss of his infant child, it was an accident, and it was written to him, would you know me? Would you help me understand that, we must be strong and carry on. But I know it don't belong here in heaven. And she just walked out. And I put this stuff on there. I put my playing on YouTube and Facebook, hoping that somebody enjoys it as much as I enjoy playing it. I get very little confirmation from it, and that's a slippery slope. It's not about, for me, it's not about being famous and getting adoration from people. I totally am appreciative when someone steps out of their comfort zone in a public place where we've been programmed to stay by ourselves and ignore everyone around us. But because I brought music into the room, I am a different person from their perspective. And they can walk up to me without any fear and comment on what I'm doing. And it still baffles me because nobody's walking up from one end of the room to the other and telling somebody they like their phone cover. I have yet to see anybody get up and go over, hey, I like your shoes, that kind of thing. But almost every time, and when I start playing, someone is going to tell me, that's beautiful. And I always say thank you, but I have to practice it. And while I'm practicing, even at home, I imagine that there are other people around me when I'm practicing. So is it appropriate for my audience, my imaginary audience, which would be just average people? Would this playing be accepted? Would it be received, for what it is? Almost like I'm doing this for myself, just for my anxiety and such, but also because of what I've been witnessing, the way that people react. Music's a real powerful thing, and I sit in this room a lot alone, playing the guitar and trying to come up and build upon phrases that I'm remembering. And then when I go to those places, I start tying all of those phrases together, which allows me to continue playing, one after the other, and it changes, and it doesn't sound like I'm struggling at it, that it intentionally flows. And I believe that by me doing that is showing by example that whatever gift that we have is meant to be shared with other people. and I would like to share it with more people, but when I looked at Instagram, I just don't like this idea about the whole AI stuff and how they can get your information, and it said IDs and that kind of stuff. We're so quick to want to try and fulfill that need to be heard that we're willing to give up our own privacy for that. And I enjoy my privacy. These are the chords to a George Michael song that I learned last night. Not to the fullest extent, but there we go. Turn off the delay. Had enough of strangers, people on the street. Had enough of danger. Just trying to find some peace. That look in your eyes, it keeps telling me no. If you say that you love me, say that you love me. But if you don't, just let me go. Teacher, there are things that I don't want to learn. Oh, the last one I had made me cry. I don't want to learn to hold you and touch you. And think that you're mine. Oh, the last one I had made me cry. You know what I'm talking about. Love you.